Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. We're going to pick two random SoulsBorne bosses, and then they will engage in a surfing contest. It is still summer, after all. Right? I'm recording these weeks ahead of time, so I'm hoping it's still summer by the time this episode comes out. Should be the middle of August. So, yeah, that should be right. They will engage in a surfing contest, and whoever wins the surfing contest will be the winner. Simple, to the point, shouldn't take very long. That's how I like to have my contests, so that's just pretty much how I like to set things up, so sounds good to me. Pretty close to 100 SoulsBorne bosses in this little generator that I have created, including some special spots that you can probably see if you look close enough. The battlefield has been cleared. It can house any and all SoulsBorne bosses, and it has housed all of them at least once. So we are going to stop this wheel, and we are going to see who is entering the battlefield for SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. We're going to see who we're going to land on. It's as easy as that, as long as I can spit it out of my mouth. Here we go. Malenia, Blade of Mikola. Once reputed to be the hardest SoulsBorne boss in history, but I think that Promised Consort Radahn may have taken that crown. I'm not sure what the general consensus out there is, but I know that when I fought Promised Consort Radahn, it took me a long time to beat him. And pretty sure it was much longer than it took me to beat Malenia, although that did also take me a long time. So that being the case, it is always a pleasure to see Malenia on SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. I think we've landed on her at least once. I'm not going to go back and see where it was, because last time I did that, it took forever. And I don't want to burn up any of your guys' time, more so than I'm already doing right now. So, Malenia, Blade of Mikola, is always a welcome choice in SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. Obviously, like I said, one of the toughest bosses in the history of SoulsBorne games. But you know what? I still love fighting her. It's still fun. It's just very, very, very hard. But, yeah. That's okay. Malenia can kick my ass any day of the week. How about that? We will just say that much, and then we're going to take this wheel for another spin. We are going to decide the opponent for Malenia, Blade of Mikola, here on SoulsBorne Battle to Death in the surfing contest. Malenia is going to be in a surfing contest. At least that I could see. I can see Malenia in a surfing contest more than I could see. I don't know. I always come back to the one Reborn. I can't see the one Reborn doing any kind of contest. I'm sorry. That's just me. All right. Malenia, Blade of Mikola on one side of the arena. And on the other side of the arena, we have Ebrietas, Daughter of the Cosmos. Now that, my friends, is an interesting fight, and I think worthy of the main event. That's how I feel about that. Oh boy, I'm visualizing that fight in my head right now. That is very, very interesting. That is very, very interesting. I like that fight a lot, actually. And it's definitely one of those fights that you wouldn't think of, I think, if you were trying to compare SoulsBorne bosses. I don't think it's one of those fights that you would just like randomly stumble upon. But we did right here on SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. All right. We are going to go to the contractually obligated bio, so let's have a look at Malenia, Blade of Miquella. Malenia, Blade of Miquella, is the twin sister of the aforementioned Miquella. And as Empyreans, both were slated to ascend to godhood later on in life, but due to their parentage, they were both afflicted with curses. Miquella was afflicted with the curse of eternal nascency, and if in fact I am pronouncing that word correctly, and Malenia was afflicted with scarlet rot. Scarlet rot is every bit as nasty as it sounds, and it consumed Malenia from the inside out, disfiguring her and leaving her blind. Damned if that was going to stop her, though, because Malenia fought to suppress the rot's influence, and did not let it stop her from doing virtually anything. Miquella also fought to cure his sister's affliction, and while he could never cure it, he did eventually invent the unalloyed gold needle, which suppressed the rot's influence, I guess. Miyazaki. That's all I gotta say. So at some point, Malenia encounters a legendary blind swordsman who has of the flowed curved greatsword, and that swordsman had also suppressed a outer god of rot, which is way too coincidental for me. The swordsman became her master and endowed her with wings of unparalleled strength, because why not? Over time, Malenia became a warrior in a class of her own, and would become her brother's sworn blade and protector. When Queen Marika ran out of her meds and shattered the Elden Ring, Malenia claimed a shard of the Elden Ring, and gained loyal servants in the form of the Clean Rot Knights, who served her despite the putrefaction of their flesh. Malenia led this army south and won battles over many demigods, including Godric the Grafted. I don't actually know if Godric the Grafted is a demigod, but he is one of the bosses in Elden Ring, of course. And Godric, I guess, insulted her, which is, especially being Godric, is something, a journey I wouldn't go on. And then was forced to grovel at her feet, as he should. And then, for whatever reason, Malenia didn't kill him. So, yeah, she just basically probably decided that he wasn't worth her time and then moved on with her life. So Malenia's journey takes her to Caelid, and she and Radahn would be the last two demigods standing, basically, in this War of the Shattering. And the two would basically fight to a standstill, where Malenia would unleash her Scarlet Rot for the first time. The onslaught of the Scarlet Rot unleashed by Malenia was so devastating that it devastated the entire landscape of Caelid and turned it into a rotting landscape, I guess, as the best definition I can come up with it off the top of my head right this second. But it just turned the entire country, I guess, into just a giant scarlet rot flower. Not really, but there's pores growing all over the place, and it's just not a fun place to be. The scarlet rot crippled Radahn mentally and caused him to rapidly deteriorate and feast on the corpses of, well, basically anyone that was there. Malenia was not left unscathed. She left the battlefield in a coma, and eventually Clean Rot Knight Finley would carry her all the way back to the Haligtree. Now, Miquella had encased himself in the Haligtree in an attempt to reverse his curse. During the time that Malenia was gone, Mohg, Lord of Blood, had ripped Miquella out of the Haligtree while he was still in his cocoon, just because Mohg has this fascination with Miquella. There's actually more to the story. It has to do with Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, but so yeah, Mohg stole Mikola and took him away to wherever Moog goes. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So Melania just rests at the base of the Halleck tree and dreams of Mikola's return, and that's where you come in and disturb her slumber like a complete moron. And then then you end up fighting Melania, and you likely end up coming to regret that decision, because Melania is reputed to be the toughest boss in all of SoulsBorne lore, although that is now up for debate because Miyazaki heard that and then released the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, where he introduced Promised Consort Radahn, who is just absolutely... There are no words. There are no words for this fucking boss. So yeah. That being said, I mean, Melania is still... She is still up there. I don't think one boss knocks her off her perch so easily, and certainly does not knock her off the Mount Rushmore very easily. So Melania is still one of the toughest bosses in all of FromSoft history, and yet I want to say beloved. I think she's a beloved boss, but there's definitely a love-hate relationship there with Melania, and it's well deserved on both sides. But she is certainly an awesome boss, and when Melania turns her head towards you and puts her helmet on and whips her sword out, you know that shit's about to go down. Ebrietas, whose name I believe loosely translates to Chicken Noodle Soup Experiment Gone Horribly Awry, is the object of the Healing Church's worship in Bloodborne. She guides the Healing Church in the ways of blood ministration and only communes with the highest members of the church. She was found by the Healing Church in the Old Labyrinth, and then the Healing Church later founded the choir to protect and study her. And she is the only one of the Great Ones who wants to coexist with humans, which probably lasted until you burst into her lair and tried to murder her. When you fight Ebrietas, in Phase 1, she will attack with her head, her arms, and her tentacles. Should be obviously as typical in Phase 1 of any boss ever. They're more docile, but in Phase 2 they're a little more aggressive, and she'll start spewing red fluid from her head, which is gross, and then she will also use projectiles and start executing random attacks after she loses her mind. So Ebrietas is a tough one. I definitely remember many tries in Bloodborne. But she's also a fun one and a cool but disgusting boss design. There's a lot of disgusting boss designs in Bloodborne. But yeah, I think it's nice to have Ebrietas with us, and I think it'll be interesting to see what mischief she can get into in Battle to the Death. This is a very interesting fight, I think, more so than it seems to be on paper. Ebrietas is very difficult in her own right, I think. She's very strong, assuming it's a she. I think Ebrietas is a she, but I'm not sure. I apologize for that. But yeah, Ebrietas does hit hard, and she does have some pretty diverse attacks, I think. I think she has enough in her arsenal to make this fight rather interesting. That being said, I don't think there's any way that Melania doesn't win this fight. I think Ebrietas is too big and too slow, and if you can't evade Melania's attacks, then Melania is basically going to carve you up like a turkey and not take very long to do so. So Melania is the perfect combination of speed and power. So I think I think that's pretty much the story of this fight. I think that Melania, like I said, I do think it would be an interesting fight, but I think that Melania would win it and still not take very long to do so. But it would be a fun fight to watch, though. I think this is a fight that I would like to see play out somehow, some way. But yeah, I do think that Melania wins this fight rather easily. But that is just my opinion. Feel free to leave yours in the comments. And with that, yet another edition of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death draws to a close. RobertBlanchardBooks.com. If you're interested in the award-winning Roar of a Dragon series, you can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. If you'd like to hear more about them, the Rise of Dragons podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. My Linktree, my Instagram, my Twitter, all Bobby's World 2110. Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Dark Souls Remastered No Estus run. I'm still going through that nonsense right now. This past week, just delving deeper into the depths. But I did find the friend that I was looking for. So if you're trying to figure out what friend that was, go check out that episode and see what's going on there. And Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is SoulsBorne Battle to the Death, which you're watching right now. So I shouldn't really have to explain too much about what that is. So, yeah. More content coming your way on the channel. I did also put out a video. I had bought a book. I can't remember if it was at Target or Walmart. I think it might have been Walmart. Not sure. Doesn't matter. It was called A Father's Story, or Your Father's Story. It was basically a journal type book, but it had like questions in it that a father could fill out and leave for his kids. So and I bought this book and basically proceeded to do nothing with it because I just didn't have time. So I figured rather than write in it, I would make videos about it. And I played it for Kate and the boys last week, and they seemed to really enjoy it. So that's really cool. So that video is up on the channel, and there will be more of those to come. And my friends seem to like it too, so that was very cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. More content coming your way as always. Just pushing forward and doing the best I can. Leave a like, subscribe, notifications, and all that stuff. I love you guys very much, and I appreciate the love and support, and I appreciate the growth that the channel has seen a little bit of recently. That really, really means a lot to me. So I love and appreciate you guys for that, and I'm just going to keep working my ass off because that's just what I do, and I don't have time to do anything else but work my ass off. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. So just sending the love back your way, and I hope everyone has an amazing week. Be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it. See you for live, y'all. Bye. What's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out the video today, but I got a question for you. Did you know I wrote a book? Did you know I wrote 3 books? Did you know that they're all part of the same series? The Roar of a Dragon, The Treachery of a Weasel, and The Cry of a Raven. ReadersFavorite.com says that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. Now, I personally think that's crazy, but it's not for me to judge. It's for you to judge. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com and you can check out the books right now. But wait, that's not all. All 3 books got 5-star reviews in ReadersFavorite.com. These books won the Silver Medal in the Literary Titan Awards. The Cry of a Raven won Silver at the Global eBook Awards. So what are you waiting for? Read about Aiden's dream to become a Knight of Delmar. Read about his death and resurrection. Oops, I gave that away, didn't I? And read about his journey back home from 3,000 years in the future to stop the evil that started in Delmar. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And then, if you're interested, you can buy the books there as well. And if you've already read the books or you just want to hear more about them, you can check out the Rise of Dragons podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And in every episode, I cover a character from the book, an event from the book, my journey into writing, and everything in between. Ripley, what do you got to say about all this?
Give me a treat or I will end you.
You know she's telling you to check out the books. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com to check out the books, or listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast if you want to hear about them. That's all I got to say, and thank you for watching this video.